Okay, so everyone's got that strange habit that might make sense for them, but seems surreal or outlandish to others. Football players are no different, and there's loads out there who, out of superstition or out of habit, perform some strange rituals. From their beliefs to obsessive rituals, we see lots of players perform some kind of strange act before a game. Barcelona star Philippe Coutinho is one of those players, and then we've got Thibaut Courtois, who does a couple of things that are more about superstitions than anything else. So let's have a look at some of the strangest things that players do as they get ready for a 90-minute trial by fire. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon and like this video. If you like what you see, make sure to pass it on to your friends. Unlike most of the players who are excited to get on the pitch as early as possible, former Arsenal and Liverpool defender Torre always insisted on being the last player of his team to enter the pitch. However, Torre did have to pay a price for this superstition after he got in trouble with the referee in 2009 for showing up late. He once missed the start of the second half of a Champions League encounter for Arsenal because he was waiting for his teammate William Gallas to enter the field before him. Gallas was being treated for a minor knock in the moment, and Torre just wouldn't enter the field as the second to last man. Arsenal started that game with 9 men, and Torre was even given a yellow card for intentionally not entering the field. For the 2012 European Championships, the Czech Republic knew that they weren't favourites to even reach the latter stages of the competition. However, that didn't stop Petr Cech and company from entering a pact that saw them head into the tournament without shaving. The teammates had made a pact that they would not shave during the tournament and would only do so if the national team ends up winning the final. "We said we aren't going to shave until we came out on top in the tournament," says Czech. The legendary shot-stopper of Chelsea also admitted that he actually liked not having to shave every single day for a change. However, the former Czech international also revealed that he refused to listen to his wife's calls for him to take out his razor because he looked awful. Arguably one of the greatest Dutch players of all time, Johan Cruyff had his own little quirks like all players. The Ajax legend had a very astonishing and truly unusual ritual. Before each meeting, he would hit goalkeeper Gert Bals in the stomach for luck and courage. The Flying Dutchman also had another ritual before every game. He would spit his chewing gum towards the opposing team's bench before kickoff, and admitted that it allowed him to focus on the game. There was one time when Cruyff had forgotten his chewing gum, and the end result was not good. During the 1969 European Cup final against AC Milan, Cruyff forgot to do this ritual, and the Dutch Giants lost the game 4-1. Gary Lineker was a master at scoring goals. Throughout his career, the striker had never been booked. Now a consultant for an English news channel, Lineker says that he never used to attempt a shot during warm-up since he didn't want to waste a goal. He thought he might not be able to score a similar goal when it mattered the most, so kept his striking instincts to himself during warm-ups. In addition, Lineker opted for a very radical solution when he went on a scoreless spree. He would visit the hairdresser for a new haircut. On top of that, Lineker also changed his jersey at half-time if he had not scored in the first half. Now that is one overly superstitious striker. Now, goalkeepers can be a weird bunch. They do certain things that just don't make a lot of sense. Argentine goalkeepers are some of the most eccentric athletes you'll ever come across. Legendary Argentine shot-stopper Sergio Goycoechea played a huge role in helping Argentina reach the final of the 1990 World Cup after his heroics in the semi-final win for the Albiceleste. Goycoechea operated on a win-at-all-costs mantra and actually marked his territory during the 1993 Copa America encounters against Brazil and Colombia. Argentina won the competition, and for many years it remained the country's last big title before the recent victory at the Copa America 2021. Mario Zagallo is one legendary Brazilian. He won the World Cup twice as a player, once as a manager and once as an assistant manager, and was Brazil's manager when they lost the 1998 final to France. No one has ever managed to achieve that greatness, and it appears his ability to win so much was down to an absolute belief in the magical power of the number 13. Interestingly, number 13 is often considered to be an unlucky number in many cultures, but Zagallo absolutely venerated this number. He lives on the 13th floor of a high-rise building, made sure he got married on January 13th, and always wears the number 13 jersey for club and country. And when he recovered from stomach cancer, he was convinced that it was thanks to the 13 visits he made to the Saint Antoine Church. Surprisingly, he won 13 matches as a coach at the FIFA World Cup. And when he was the assistant manager for Brazil during the triumphant 1994 World Cup campaign, the event started on June 13th. Wow, is that pure coincidence or not? Legendary Hungarian coach Béla Gutman left Benfica following their 1961-62 European Cup triumph. Since then, the Portuguese Giants have never won any European competition. The outspoken tactician told the board that the Eagles will not win any European trophy for the next 100 years. What was the cause of this anger? When he guided Benfica to European glory, Gutman asked for a bonus from the club's owners, which he was refused. The Hungarian, in his iconic top hat, slammed the door on his way out after proclaiming that, "Without me, not in 100 years will this club win any European competition." The curse has not been lifted since. Perhaps in the year 2062, we might see Benfica win the Champions League or the Europa League after losing 8 major European finals since 1962. Even the great Eusebio tried to lift the curse while begging by Gutman's grave to do so. It hasn't worked out yet, so we guess that the curse could be real. The legendary Chelsea defender was probably the most superstitious of players and had no less than 50 pre-match rituals to his credit. For starters, Terry used the same shin guards for 10 seasons until he lost his lucky pair in a Champions League game against Barcelona. Luckily, Frank Lampard had a spare on him. Not just that, Terry would always sit in the same team on the team bus before each game, and even instructed his teammates to do the same. Terry wouldn't touch the ball in the locker room and would park his car in the same spot in the parking lot. Romanian managers Mircea Lucescu, Angel Iordanescu and Victor Piturca have been very clear about their instructions to the team bus driver that the vehicle is not allowed to hit the reverse gear when the team is on board. Reverse maneuvers are only allowed to be performed when the bus is empty. Former Croatian international Mario Mandzukic scored goals for fun in a trophy-laden career. His goal-scoring instinct perhaps came from a particular superstition where he would ask his wrists to be taped in what was a ritual inspired by boxers when they prepare for a big fight. Now, Mandzukic wasn't a violent player at all, so maybe it's just something he liked doing. Before each game, Belgium international Thibaut Courtois goes through a perfectly orchestrated routine. He starts his preparations by texting his girlfriend that he's going to change, then he puts on his shoes, socks and gloves and makes sure to start from the left. He won't leave to warm up until he's dampened the tips of his gloves. Once had his goal, Courtois kicks the left post, then the right post before hitting the crossbar. Who would have thought that the Real Madrid man would be so finicky about things? When he was playing at AS Roma, German international Antonio Rüdiger had a combined ritual with Bruno Perez and Radja Nainggolan. The three men developed a choreographed version of a ritual which involved them performing similar movements 3 times that ended with a hug. So what happens if those players left for different clubs? Well, Rüdiger did have a testing start to his Chelsea career, but is now one of the standout defenders in the Premier League. Maybe he's found the perfect partners to be a parlay to his rituals. Everyone can remember the image of Laurent Blanc kissing Fabien Barthez's shaved head. During the 1998 World Cup in France, Le Président used to perform this ritual every time before kickoff. Clearly the ritual worked wonders as Les Bleus won the trophy at the expense of Brazil. Now on to Coutinho. Barcelona star Philippe Coutinho has revealed that he prays before every game he plays in. The Brazil international has struggled at Barcelona but has shown flashes of brilliance this season, which means that he might help the club out of this mess that they're in at the moment. During his time at Liverpool, Coutinho became one of the most sought-after players in Europe. From scoring sensational goals to setting up teammates, the Brazil international was one of the brightest stars in England. And it was during his time at Anfield where Coutinho developed this strange practice where he would cut holes inside the heels of his shoes. However, it wasn't really a ritual. Coutinho says that his boots were giving him blisters and gave him so much pain that he decided to cut open the heels of his boots. Believe it or not, this turned out to be a great bit of strategy since it coincided with his best period as a footballer. Maybe Coutinho should start doing the same again at Camp Nou.